The closer that season gets here, the more I just know people are gonna get pissed off. Hey, what's up, you guys? It's me, Derek, with your review. So, Sony announced that they were unveiling a couple projects in the mix. They announced some of their video game stuff lately, which I have a feeling like, okay, it's cool that you're announcing more video game titles. Like, they announced a Helldivers movie. They announced a Ghost of Tsushima anime. We already know that the God of War television series is going to be on Amazon. And that they also talked about Until Dawn, which I feel like they got to show out a trailer for this because the way they're talking about that movie is kind of different than what I expected from the game, but that's a different video for a different time. On the other hand, we got an announcement date for The Last of Us Season 2. It's coming out in April. And now that we have, I guess, our final trailer for it, it's like a short trailer. And I don't even think they have enough to show since everybody knows the plot of The Last of Us 2. And going into Season 2 of the show, that's going to be, okay, how are you going to adapt this whole story? Because I don't know if they can adapt that whole thing in less than 9 episodes. And with introducing new characters into the mix, I wonder how that's going to play out because we already know what it's going to be like in the game, but I don't even know if they're going to touch some of this stuff up from the game because I already know, like, when I played it for the first time, I'm like, I have no problem with this until certain actions were done. Some players found this game divisive, and I have a feeling like, yeah, it's a good story, but it would have been a better story if it was The Last of Us 3. And I have a feeling like it wouldn't have been as divisive as it was if this game was basically like the final chapter of The Last of Us, since I don't even know there is kind of leaks or discussions out there they're going to do a Last of Us 3. But besides that, let's get back to the show. With this trailer, I want to see how little bits and details are going to be shown out. I want to see Abby. Hopefully we get to see a little bit of what that other side of the world is like, because if you don't know, in The Last of Us 2 game, Abby has her own little story in itself where it's like, oh, this happened before the apocalypse, and this is me during it up to the point where she meets up with Joel and Ellie. The story there is interesting enough on its own season, but I wonder if they're going to try and include that, or are they just going to do bits and pieces like flashbacks? Like whenever the game didn't show little elements in the show, I feel like they're going to be doing that, but we could save that for the discussion right after, so let's get to the trailer. The alarm.
It doesn't matter if you have a code like me. There are just some things everyone agrees are just.
Okay, that scene is gonna be insane. For the little bits we see of Abby in this trailer, I guess I could say they did a good job at least hiding a little bit of things, but also at least keeping it so, yeah, for those who are familiar with the game, you know what's coming in. Yeah, for the new ones coming into the show, I have a feeling like they're going to have to go through some therapy. I just want to say, hopefully the showrunners know what they're doing with this season, and the fact that I know they're going to have to go copy and paste from the game, and certain elements that I know fans might get upset by. I just know that for a drama, and this being represented on TV, I have a feeling like it's going to be shown in a different light, to the fact that I feel like we're going to be going half and half on the story. Some decisions were good, but how bad of a person are you if the person you knew beforehand actually is a worse person than you ever thought he was? The whole thing with The Last of Us 2 about revenge is that revenge in that game made it feel like, yeah, nothing was worth it. Revenge doesn't get you anywhere, and nobody wins in any conversation, no matter how deep you want to go into it. Like, I get the message they were throwing out in the game, but the thing is, like, yeah, it all makes sense if this wasn't just, like, the continuation. If there was another game that was called The Last of Us 2 that would have set up these characters a bit earlier than expected, like, the first game would have been Ellie's story, the second game would have been Abby's story, then in the third game, which would have been a third game, would have been them two crossing over and those two characters going up against each other. That's how I've always thought The Last of Us 2 should have been. But then again, I don't make these decisions, and that's what Naughty Dog thought was good enough. And I said, yeah, that's the game we got, but yeah, we'll see each other in part 3, I guess. Also, the fact that I'm looking at little clips and pieces of the episodes, I guess we're going to be going through 7 instead of at 9, and I have a feeling like, okay, those are 7 episodes, and I'm seeing little bits and pieces of what could be Abby and Ellie's arcs mixed together, like they're trying to combine them into one. It seems kind of short to me, but then again, I don't even know if they're going to announce a season 3 where we're going to get half of the story in part 2 in here and the second half in season 3. If they were to do that to actually expand the story and fill in some gaps, that'd be cool enough, but then again, I have a feeling like, yeah, let me see how the season starts out and how it ends, so like that we could say, okay, they didn't just rush the whole second game into one. The first game was a simple story. Yeah, it took out some elements of the games that would have been cool to see in live action and replaced them with something new, but it didn't bother the pacing of the show, and we still got from A to Z as good as we did in the game. Other than that, get your golf clubs and prepare yourself for April because it's going to be quite a swing. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. All my social media down in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.